welcome.
Glad to be here.
What do you think about the studio?
I love this setup.
A little bit different than down in the basement, right?
Yeah, no, this is definitely a cool vibe. Like I need it. I think we need like cocktails and cigars.
It's funny because we had the last two guests on last week.
Yeah.
They're the pen guys, so they're, puffing on their pen the entire time. But
oh, yeah.
it's just chill,
Yeah, no, this is a cool vibe.
So what's new? How was Orlando?
Oh, it was good. It was good. I got a lot of food in.
Oh, I bet you did.
That was the whole thing. It was kind of weird to, be shooting the photos without my light.
Yeah.
But I got some okay photos. There were some cool vibes out there. There's a restaurant, Pat O'Brien, kind of a New Orleans vibe.
Oh, really?
Yeah, kind of like that merged with like an Irish bar.
Really?
Yes.
That's a weird twist.
Yeah, it was a cool vibe.
That's cool. How was Harry Potter Land?
Oh, I tell you what, I'm
like dream come true.
I'm not a fan of the show per se. I mean, don't get me wrong. I watched it, I enjoyed it, but I'm not like
right,
geeking out with a wand or anything.
No,
but no, it was good. I did the butterbeer, the frozen, and then I tried the hot, and then the cold is the other one. Oh, and the ice cream too.
Yeah.
So I did it all. It's like butterscotch. It was pretty good. But the theming, being immersed in it, kind of forgetting the outside world.
Right.
I think is what those are all about.
Right. Was it just like diabetes in a cup?
Oh yeah, definitely a lot of sugar. Somehow I walked 22,000 steps average every day I was out there, and I gained weight still.
Did you do any of the rides, or was it just strictly the Harry Potter stuff?
Dude, I did all the rides.
Yeah?
Every ride. Like, literally, so Universal Orlando is, two parks, but it's, they said it's the same size as Disneyland, California, and, California Adventure, but I literally, at the end of it, I was, like, looking around corners trying to find things to do. Like,
really?
What's over here, Yeah.
Isn't that all part of Epcot, or is that a total separate park?
So this is Universal, so not Disney at all.
Okay.
Yeah, so Disney World, they got the 4 parks over there.
Damn.
Yeah, so you could there's like 7 parks. Plus Universal got another gate coming up, Epic Universe.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, right on. How's the SLC Foodie account?
Is doing crazy good. Like, it continues to just shock me how it continues to grow.
What's crazy is I got to see it in the beginning.
Yep.
So like you and I would go out, you'd bust out the halo light, and I was always like, what is going on here? And then now, kind of getting into this realm, like I wouldn't be fazed by it whatsoever. But the advertising you do for these restaurants is unreal.
Oh, well, thanks, man. I tell you what, it's a passion. I love the food. I've kept to the core. Only talking about what I love, and I think that's why it keeps growing. I think it's for me. I always, people I follow that do food, I want them to be relatable. I don't want them to be like a snobby food critic or anything. And I feel like I'm just myself. So
a couple things I noticed. Being a single guy, like you have the ultimate advertising on taking women to new spots.
You need the tips, huh?
Yeah, definitely. Because, like I get stuck in routine.
Sure.
So when you have that new you got going on, I'm always like, oh man, I got to take a girl to that spot.
You got to stop taking them to Olive Garden.
Hey, they treat you like family though. The other thing I noticed too is as I've seen your account grow, especially when we rebooted the podcast, I had people asking me like, who are you going to have on there? Who are you going to have on there? I was like, oh, SLC Foodie. I mean, we're friends. We've been friends, since high school?
Yeah, long time.
And they're like, oh my God, you know him? And I was like, yeah, I know him actually really well. And they're like, wow, like you must be well connected. I was like, hey.
Oh my gosh, that's crazy to hear that, because I literally feel like it's just me talking to myself like it was 12 years ago.
Yeah.
That's wild. Wow.
How did you come up with the Hey Foodie Fam?
Oh, man. So, Hey Foodie Fam. So, when TikTok came out, right, I was reluctant to get into the whole video thing. I didn't want to be dancing, eating my fries,
Right.
So, it's like, how do I make this interesting? And, being static photos and captions, I was really ingrained in that. So, yeah, just did videos over and over, like, hey, and I'm like, gosh, intro's awkward. I need like some music maybe playing like you.
Yeah.
But yeah, I honestly, I couldn't tell you how it happened, but it happened. And people, at first, I think people were kind of poking at me, which I kind of like. I like
Right.
people joking with me, tongue in cheek, And I was like, okay, if people are talking about it, if whether they like it or not, maybe it's something because someone's talking about it.
So it's catchy. It's definitely you. So, it's a very natural thing. It was just cool to kind of see all of a sudden the shift to, hey, foodie fam, and like it catches your attention.
I don't sound like that, do I?
No. But no. You got your style, but it's so catchy that you're just like, oh, okay, like. What's on the menu today?
Yeah, no, it's funny. Sometimes when I'm going through my feed, because I use my own feed to find restaurants I want to go eat.
Right.
When I first created it, that was the whole purpose, utility. And I'll go through and I was like, gosh, this guy's annoying. Because it's like, hey, foodie, over and over.
Right.
I'm like, okay, I could see how that could get like annoying. Because when I look at it, I'm just looking at the last piece of content I just created. I'm not looking as someone that's going through all of them.
Right.
So, please mute it if you,
No, man, promote it, man. You gotta fly the freak flag.
Oh man, I should get a T-shirt, right?
Dude, you should. You should. Just on the back, hey, foodie fan. Everyone's like, I know him.
That's wild.
How is business? It sounds like it's getting pretty out of control.
Honestly, I am overwhelmed. It's wild. I probably go out to 30 to 35 restaurants a month.
Wow.
So I'm exploring a lot. Not all of them, of course, make the cut. And I just keep true to myself.
Right.
If I like it, I talk about it. If I don't like it, nothing against it. I'm sure other people like it.
Right.
All love.
That's what I love, though, is you don't badmouth any restaurants.
Oh, yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yelp has that under control.
Yeah, Yelp's crazy. Yelp is crazy. Side story, I actually went to this place called Wedgies in Mesquite.
Okay.
So our mutual friend Colby, we
Yeah.
went down to Mesquite for a golf trip,
Okay.
and he was all about the seafood buffet,
Oh, yeah.
and I don't do seafood.
Yeah.
So next to the golf course, there was this restaurant called Wedgies, and I was like, oh, I'll go check it out.
Sure.
Looking at their menu, probably dying at that point from heat exhaustion. And all I can think of is like, I just want a cheese pizza, something simple, no big deal. What came out was like the most ridiculous pizza I've ever seen in my life. I'm talking like a half-inch thick of mozzarella cheese.
Oh, that sounds good. What are you talking about?
No, but it wasn't the good kind.
Oh,
it was like way over cheesy, and it looked like on the actual slice itself was just like very thin tomato paste.
Oh, okay.
And I couldn't finish it.
So it was like concession food.
It was too much.
Yeah.
I felt like I probably could have died of clogged arteries after one slice.
Oh, wow. Well, that would have been good for cheese pulls, though.
Oh, for sure. For sure. Like that slow-mo 4K 30 frame. Just
Yeah. Oh, yeah, 100%.
Would have been just fine. Let's hear some recommendations, stuff you've eaten lately that you're just like, okay, you got to go check this out.
Yeah. So I checked out 2 nights ago a new hot pot, Korean barbecue, sushi, all you can eat, right? A
Really?
mouthful. Yeah. I mean, usually it's all you can eat sushi,
Right.
all you can eat Korean barbecue, hot pot. I've never been to a spot that like merges everything together and does it well, right?
Wow. Okay.
And I think it was only like $37 per person.
That's not bad for all you can eat.
And they had like crab legs. They had the little blue crabs. They had beef brisket, all kinds of stuff, right? And it was really impressive. It was really good.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah, it's over in Chinatown, just off of I think like 3300 South in State.
We have a Chinatown?
Yeah.
I didn't know that.
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah, like 3,000, like 33rd and State. Yeah.
Well, I know they have that buffet on like 45th and State.
Oh yeah, no. That's further up. Yeah, no, this is literally it has like I don't know what you call it, but like the arch and
Oh, okay.
like
oh,
the
they have
design and everything.
they have the teppanyaki place right across.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah, I know what you're talking about.
Yeah, there's like tiger sugar in there. There's a whole like Asian market over there.
Yeah.
And the RF Mart's over there. That's like the Costco of like Asian food.
Really?
Oh, dude, it's crazy good. And they have like the live crabs and lobsters and like octopus. I mean,
Shark fin soup.
yeah, I think it's like the closest you can get to like an open air market in China.
Really?
Oh, dude, it's awesome.
Wow. What is the most interesting you've eaten recently?
Oh gosh, interesting, man. That's hard for me though because I try almost anything, right? I had a elk tartare, right? So that's raw elk, ground up elk that was in a patty,
Right.
with shaved black truffles. I think that was like not only the most interesting, but probably the most expensive. I forget how much that was, but it was really good.
Yeah.
Really good.
Wow. The videos you make, I'm like looking at them, especially if I'm hungry. I'm like, oh, it'd be so good to try it.
Yeah.
And then there's something in there where I'm like, don't know if I'd eat that, but I bet that place is good.
Yeah. Oh, I love it. Yeah. No, you know what's funny? When people ask me, they're like, so what do you like? What's your favorite spot right now? I always pull out my phone.
Right.
And I go to my feed. And they're like, what are you doing? Didn't you go there? It's like, yeah, but I got a goldfish memory. That's why I started this.
Right.
Was a photograph with a location so I can remember where I went.
Right.
But no, it's I'd say that's probably the most interesting, like unique thing. I mean, at that K-pop spot, they had some pretty interesting like mushrooms. They had a huge selection of mushrooms. For
Really?
hot pot. Oh yeah, like ones that I have never seen before. Beyond the standard, shiitake and all of
Right.
that. It was pretty interesting with the variety they had over there.
Nice. Take us into kind of your development into your videos.
Oh yeah, okay. Well, so I eat the food and the video magically happens. No, no, yeah. So go out to eat and shoot the content. Before I eat it, which is kind of interesting because a lot of content ends up on the cutting room floor, and I say that in parentheses because. Maybe I didn't like it, right? Or maybe it was too long. I know when I watch videos, if they're longer than 30 seconds, you got to really be keeping my attention, right? So yeah, no, shoot all the content, and then the way that I balance, people always ask me, they're like, "How are you, not 1,000 pounds, right? With all the food you eat." I do my editing when I do my cardio. I hate cardio. I really like to edit the videos. It's like therapy to me. And I really enjoy it. And it gets me through cardio. So, some videos I'll look down, like 45 minutes. Man, I just burnt 800 calories.
There you go.
Better go eat.
One thing you mentioned before, you're still doing everything on your phone, right?
Yeah. Yep. I'm doing it, I guess, the way Instagram intended, I mean, you think about it. It was designed to share real-time moments,
right,
with the friends and family and the foodie fam,
right. Is there special hashtags you use specifically to kind of get the video out?
Yeah, gosh, yeah, you're looking for that magic sauce. No,
you need to beat the algorithm.
Yeah, no, the algorithm, I tell you what, it's like a battle with Instagram. They constantly make it harder for me. Really? Oh yeah, it's the foodie fam. They follow so they can see the content. Instagram supposedly only shows it to the 10% of your audience until they feel that they want to release more. So it's kind of this uphill battle. I always laugh. I'm like, well, they're following the account. They want to see my content. Just show it to them, Right. I get if you want to restrict it to people that aren't. Right. But no, it's definitely a back and forth constantly. You are constantly thinking of ways to share these amazing restaurants and prove to Instagram that the people who want to see them can see them.
Right. Do you do a lot of recon with just I know with Instagram we all have our feeds and videos. Do you ever pay attention to the hashtags that other people are using and kind of how it tagged you in it?
Yeah. So hashtags. Honestly, I don't think do anything.
You don't?
Because think about it. hashtags, you would have to be looking under that hashtag to find that content, right? And everyone that's using that hashtag, and Instagram's not chronological, so you're competing against 12 years of content, right, to show up in the top results. So you use like I think SLC Foodie hashtag has over 100,000 tags, which I've only done in 12 years 1,000 posts. So it's not all me.
Right.
115,000 right now just on Instagram.
Wow.
So hashtags I think are dead. Granted, I still use them, right? You never know. But I don't think hashtags do anything. I think it's really what it is just creating great content, getting the message across quickly,
right,
and engaging the audience, right? I think that's the key. And if you can do that, doesn't really matter. You could just do zero caption, right?
Right.
I think that's really what it comes across, just being genuine.
I know one of the things we talked about prior, or on the last time we recorded, what I like to call amateur hour. This is a little different now, but do you still have people reaching out to you trying to buy the handle?
No, I haven't had anyone do that for a while. I know last time we spoke, there was that one gentleman that was asking about that. I think, I don't think there's a price I could put on it. I just really enjoy it so much. Right.
You can tell it's a love for you.
Yeah. No, it's a passion project. I don't know what I would do without it.
You ever look at anyone else's like foodie accounts that are in SLC?
Oh yeah, definitely.
Have you ran into anyone like that?
Oh yeah. So I used to pre-COVID. I used to reach out to people like, hey, I'm gonna go eat here. Like we should all get together. Like like a meetup.
Yeah, like
right.
Collaboration.
Some people like to meet up like similar minds. Like, hey, let's all go mountain biking or like bowling or just meet new people.
Right.
And so I met the foodies of Utah essentially, and I actually created a little Instagram called Foodies of Utah or Utah Foodie Fam or something like that. I can't remember the name of it now. Foodies of Utah. But and we would get together once a month. Go to a restaurant. Sometimes it was big, like 40 people.
Yeah.
But I don't do it so much anymore. COVID kind of, squashed that.
Right.
Obviously, we wanted to be safe, and then afterwards, it never really, picked back up after that. But no, I definitely follow a bunch of foodies in Utah. I follow foodies outside of Utah. I think that some of them inspire me. Oh gosh, you know what? That was kind of cool the way that they shot that content. Or gosh, next time I'm in Vegas, I need to check out that restaurant.
You should do like a foodie convention.
Oh my gosh, that sounds like a lot of work.
No, well, I mean, at least put the idea out there. See if someone wants to run with it. You can do like the like a Comic-Con, but a foodie con.
Well, there's that donut. Like a sugar festival, like where they have all the dessert spots that come in, and I forget. I think it's in the Mountain America Expo Center. They do it once a year, but it's crazy how that has grown. I went to the first one, and then I went to this last one, and I was just like, wow, this is like the Olympia is what it reminded me of.
Oh, really?
Like bodybuilding when they did the Olympia in Vegas. It just a massive show. It's really interesting to see that. I don't know. I think I always underestimate SLC Foodie, the reach that it has, because again, I just treat it like I did when I was talking to myself. So you say that and I'm just like, no one's gonna show up. I'm gonna be by myself.
I think you'd be shocked. I think there'd be a ton of people that show up.
That'd be cool,
because
it'd be cool to meet the foodie fam.
Well, like I was saying too, when the idea came to do this podcast with video in a studio, Lee knew who you were. There's other people that like know who you are, and so I used to get asked all the time, well, who you can have on the podcast, and I'm like, SLC Foodie. Oh, I know SLC Foodie.
That's wild. I can't. I don't know. It just boggles my mind.
You still do the news?
Yeah. So I still got the weekly segment on Fox every Tuesday about 1:05 p.m. it airs. And then I actually started doing radio.
Really?
Yeah. So John from the John and Chantel show, Mix 105.1, the morning show, reached out.
Really?
And and now I do that every Friday about 8:40 a.m.
Really?
Yeah, that was wild. That's a lot of fun.
So do they call you, or do
Yeah.
you actually go down into the studio?
They call me. Yeah, they call me. They've invited me into the studio, or if they're doing like an offsite, they did like they're at Harmon's or something recording one day, and they invited me. But I got a day job, so it's kind of hard to break away from those things. But it's fun to do the radio. It's funny. I've never met John in person, and I feel like like we're like great friends.
Yeah,
like
I think to be in that industry and to have like a radio show, you have to be like super outgoing and super friendly.
Yeah.
It would be cool. I'd love to be the fly on the wall in that studio, just to see like the equipment, how the whole radio thing works.
Maybe one of these times I'll go in because they're downtown. My office is downtown too.
Right.
They're in that Broadway by Ruth Chris.
Okay.
And I'll have to see if I can maybe get us both in because it would be cool to see that in there. I mean, their Instagram, they show what it looks like in there. But no, they're full of energy. I tell you what, the segment might be 5 minutes, but we end up talking for like 20 minutes after the segment.
Yeah. While the music's going in the background.
Yeah. No, it's a lot of fun. I really enjoy that show.
What's the craziest, I don't want to say person or company, but what's the craziest request you've got since you've been doing the SLC Foodie account?
Craziest request. Well, I thought this was crazy. I mean, it's not like wild, but I thought it was pretty crazy. There's this show called Movable Feast, and it's like a 9-time Emmy nominated food show, and it kind of has a cool vibe. It's not like everything went contest, with the food cake wars, hot dog wars, whatever war, right? Spoon wars. But it's one of the kind of the classic food shows. They go to where the produce is growing. They talk to the chefs. And it's very based on the region that they're at. And they reached out to me. They were doing a season 10, and the last episode was in Park City.
Oh, okay.
They said, "Hey, we'd like you to be part of the feast." And I was like, "Wow, okay, this is wild." I watched this show so many times, and now I get to be, a part of it. So I think it airs here shortly. Season 10 is going to come out. I know. I think the first episode just dropped, but I mean, it isn't like I had a part where I was like, "Hey," but I was at the table, and I think they asked me what I thought of the meal, and I mispronounced everything and said, "Oh, it tastes amazing,"
Right.
like I usually do.
Was it unscripted though?
Oh yeah. No, it was so my my interaction was unscripted. I didn't even know it was gonna happen. The camera guy just came up in front of me and asked me. But because you're at this big table, it's like a table of 30, and they had us up in it was up in Park City at Lookout Cabin.
Okay.
Which is like a spot you can grab a quick bite to eat, but it was in the the summer, so you literally are on this deck that overlooks all the you had to take a tram up to it, and just beautiful up there, and it was like a little party essentially with they used to do those where a chef would host a dinner, and you buy a couple tickets and you get to meet 20 people from all walks of life, and that's kind of what it was like. But the interesting thing was, of course, it's a TV show, so there was the cheersing, where everyone cheers at the end.
Right.
They had to film it 10 times because they're like, okay, drone cheers, and then cameraman cheers, and then cheers, and then cheers. So that was a lot of fun to see the host
GoPro cheers.
Well, and the fun part is I see how polished the people on the show are, but I got to see what it really looks like before it's all edited.
Right.
And it took 15, 16 tries. So I was like, oh gosh, when I do my voiceovers, because I do them in one take,
right,
I'll record it I rarely get one take, right? It's,
right.
5, 6, 7 takes. And it's unscripted, I'm just like, hey, foodie fam, you got to check this spot out.
Right.
But I got to see that these hosts, they mess up, they mispronounce, people who I thought, oh man, Gordon Ramsay, I'm sure he never messes up.
Oh, I bet I bet
Guy
you
Fieri,
anything he messes up all the time.
Yeah, it was refreshing.
I think the moments where he's chastising people are obviously.
Oh, I think that's unscripted.
That's one take.
Yeah, that's wild.
Did you meet any celebrities up there?
Not that I know of. I did meet. I mean, they invited. So like from like I hate saying this word, influencers, right?
Mm-hmm.
They invited a lifestyle influencer. She had like 5-6 million followers.
Oh, wow.
I hadn't heard of her because I don't follow. Like her. Like her. What is it? My Daily Fit.
Okay, like her style of
Yeah,
influence.
yeah. She's like Gen Z. Know. So I didn't want like I had to Google what's mid mean, like
Yeah, yeah.
but no. So that was cool. So I mean, she was kind of like a celebrity. Once I saw her account, I was like, wow, your like account's huge. And then I got to see some cool food critics that I grew up reading. They're like in City Weekly and whatnot, the Tribune. The writers. A few of them were there too, but no, Leonardo DiCaprio wasn't there.
No.
Nothing like that.
Did you get to follow them? They follow you?
Yeah, well, funny enough, some of them had already been following the account.
Really?
Yeah, which is kind of wild because, I don't really put obviously on TV, my face is there, but I don't put my face out there that much.
Right.
So, it says, hey, I'm Chase at the beginning, in the profile, but I don't think a lot of people see that.
Right.
So it's to me, it's very nice. I can go to restaurants and I don't have to, worry about people, I don't know, like, yeah, actually,
Recognizing you.
Yeah,
And like ruining your deal.
Yeah, and it isn't even that. Like, I wouldn't mind it. It's not that I wouldn't mind people talking to people because, I think that would be fun to chat with the foodie fan. But more so, I don't want to interrupt anyone's experience, and I don't want special treatment. That's really the key.
Right.
I don't want the restaurant or the servers to be like, oh, I got to take special care of this table because I want a real experience because the whole point of the account is to show you great spots to check out instead of going to Olive Garden, and to have that same experience replicated, right? So that's kind of cool in that sense. But I have had people come up to me. I was leaving Toscano's in Draper, and I was walking by one of the booths, and this gentleman tapped me on the shoulder, like literally, like tapped my shoulder as I was walking by, and I'm like, oh, sorry, did I bump you? And he's like, no. He goes, my daughter follows you.
Oh.
And I was like, what? Which is wild because his daughter had to be like 14.
Right.
And when you look at the analytics, 0.07% of my audience is in that age bracket.
What is your age bracket?
The core of it's 35 to 44.
Okay.
Yeah, I think it's like 28%.
Okay.
And then, the 46 to 54 is the next tier, and then 25 to 34. So I always joke, in my life, in my 20s is when I actually got money to be able to, maybe go out to eat at little nicer spots and whatnot. So I always joke, I have the perfect demo.
Yeah, right.
Because, when I was, in my teens and very early 20s, sub 24, JBCs were life.
Oh, man.
And $5 Little Caesar pizzas.
Right. You have a blue check mark.
No, they won't give it to me.
Why?
I don't know why. I've literally applied so many times and they just don't give it. They say I could reapply. They don't even give you a reason. Like I said, Instagram is not my friend. Instagram works against the creators.
Do you feel you get more followers from Instagram? Or are you more like, are your numbers more on like TikTok or anywhere else?
Instagram, 100%.
Is it?
Instagram, yeah. So Instagram, I'm at 155,000 plus. TikTok's sub 50,000.
Okay.
Granted, the growth on TikTok was pretty quick because I've only been on there for a couple years.
Right.
But the audience on TikTok's different. They're more content that does well on TikTok is different than my style.
Yeah, girls dancing.
Yeah. Dancing or, prank videos, stuff like that. And you just can't, food just doesn't convey that way across, I have the restaurants that do well on TikTok are the ones that are experienced, coming out with a flamethrower, or liquid nitrogen, or, something like that. But, it's, TikTok's definitely different. And, I've tossed around the idea of doing those like, hey, what's your favorite restaurant on the street? How much do you make?
Right.
No, what's your favorite restaurant? Really? Let's go there together, know? But then, I know the trolls would come out. This is fake. You didn't just meet this person. Which
yeah, I think you have a niche though. Like you have like your bread and butter is a good bread and butter.
Oh, okay. Well, thank you.
You know what I mean? Like you got a brand. It's huge here locally. A lot of people follow you. I think if you were to get into that market, you could do it. But like you said, I think the trolls would, ruin a lot of it and, potentially tarnish the SLC Foodie brand itself.
Yeah, and I want it to be a place of love. It's like YouTube. I thought about long form video, maybe video it as I'm eating and talking through it and that. But again, I don't know. I want to be passionate about it.
Right.
So maybe one of these days I'll be like, gosh, that really sounds interesting to me. I think I might do that. But it's for now, I really like the way it is.
Back to the blue check mark.
Yeah.
How important do you think the blue check mark is?
Well, since Meta made it pay to play, so you could go the organic route, which is you apply for it, and they decide if when you apply for it, you have to submit authenticity. And what I mean by that is they want to know that you are SLC Foodie, right? So if it was just my name, I could just be like, here's my driver's license. They'd be like, blue check mark, here you go. But SLC Foodie is more challenging. You have to, we want like a DBA form and then they want like news citement. So like I uploaded like, my episodes from Fox and ABC and the radio and Utah Stories magazine and City Weekly, and they're just like, nope, that's not good enough.
Yeah. So
like, what else is this?
So it's crazy because like we know a person, maybe directly or indirectly, and I won't drop any names.
Sure.
But this person has like a men's clinic.
Okay.
And you have 150,000 followers now.
Mm-hmm.
She has like 10.
Mm-hmm.
She's blue check mark.
Yeah.
And I know she's in articles because she'll post the stuff that she's in.
Yep.
And I knew part of the process of getting the blue check mark is you have to be known.
Yes.
And when I go to your account and you're still not blue check mark, I'm like, what the hell is this?
I know, right? So you can pay $15 a month and get a blue check mark, basically.
And maybe that's what she did.
And that could be what she's doing. And that gives you like better like support too. Like I had an issue where I was uploading my video and it was like just my video is shot in HDR, 4K, 60 frames per second, and it came out looking like 1990s CRT TVs. Instagram was encoding it weird, and it was just really upsetting to me because it just didn't convey the right colors and all of this. And I emailed them and emailed them. They never wrote me back.
Never.
I went a month before I found a Reddit subform where it's like, oh, well, use this app and then export it this way and to this color profile. And, all of a sudden I had to get a degree in, video editing. I was like, oh, thanks, Instagram. But no, it's pretty interesting.
Right on. Luckily, we have a guy that does all of our editing. I couldn't do it.
Yeah. I tell you what, it's time consuming. I don't think people realize how much effort actually goes into it.
Oh,
I think that's what a good editor does. They make it look simple.
Well, we did the reboot episode. It was 22 minutes long, and days go by, and I'm like, Jaden, where is it? You got to get it out there. We got to start going.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm rendering it. Couldn't tell you what rendering is, but you just it's like I have to have patience on it, and then all of a sudden he's like, yeah, it's done, but the old opener to the podcast, they actually copyright it. I have the email somewhere because I bought the music royalty free.
Oh.
But they wouldn't post it on the actual forum because of this copyright deal.
Yeah.
So now, like I was telling you, like you're the first person with the new music opener.
Yep.
And like I don't have any of the clips or stuff anymore because I really wanted to have like more of a chill music, but then none of the kind of the juvenile stuff.
Yeah.
And so anyway, I keep asking him, I'm like, well, change the opener to the new music and see if that works. And then I text him Friday. I'm like, where are we at on this? And nothing. So I don't know if our stuff's now caught up in YouTube, but the whole editing side to that, it doesn't compute to me.
Yeah.
Just like, Lee produces the video and helps get this going. And he's like showing me angles and ideas. And I'm just like, don't understand it.
Yeah.
But I'm more natural, like having the one-on-one conversation where, you know, and I'm not saying these guys couldn't do it. I'm sure they could.
Sure.
But for me, it's more natural, especially because I know you, you know, you and I can go back and forth for however long.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So we have our different departments where like you're your own one-man band.
Oh, yeah. No, I was just thinking that as you were saying that. I was like, oh, my gosh, that'd be awesome. I think it'd be hard to delegate. I'm not a good delegator.
No?
No.
See, I do it every day in my 9 to 5. So
Yeah,
for me, it's pretty easy.
I have a hard time. I think I have a hard time, like, trusting others to do things. You know? I don't know. I probably got to go to therapy for that.
I haven't even told Lee this yet, but there's a girl we just hired at our work, and part of her resume, and I didn't say this to my boss, but you know, I'm reading her resume, and she's done advertising, TikTok, the whole nine.
Yeah.
And so she got hired, and then second day, she's you know, up in my office training with me. And I was like, let's talk about your resume. This right here. And she's like, yeah, I used to do this. I used to, you know, figure out the algorithm and promote and do all this stuff. And I was like, okay, you're hired for the side project. And she's like, well, how much am I going to make? I go, it's free for now. If we can monetize this thing and you can help us out, then, you know, we'll pay you.
Yeah.
And she's, you know, young girl, 22. She's like, okay, I'll do it.
Yeah, yeah. Or through some equity. Like people do that sometimes, you know? You give a little bit of equity and then all of a sudden you get that sense of ownership.
Right.
You know? A lot of restaurants do that.
Do they?
Yeah, when they go from 1 to 2, you know, the key players in the first location that helped them get it going say, hey, you know what? Like treat this kind of like your store. Like this, we're going to give you a piece of the pie, and that instills the same quality, right? You know, it gives that to consistency without having to create like a huge operations manual.
Right. Yeah, we are like what we're trying to do is more what I would call like the grassroots deal, kind of like the route you've gone.
Yeah.
You know, build the following locally, try to go more broad, and kind of see what happens. So watching you with a ring light 8 years ago do this.
Yeah.
And thinking to myself, what the hell is he doing? To where you're at now and understanding it and seeing your progression, like that inspires me, and I'm sure it inspires Lee and everyone else we talk to, that this can be done. And like one of the things like me and Lee had talked about is there's no big podcast in the state of Utah.
Yeah.
Like it's like ripe for the taking. And with kind of the keys to, or the pieces to the pie that we have here, you know, I feel pretty confident we can help grow this thing too, and one day get to your level.
Hey, I tell you what, I would love to see that. I think that would be awesome. And you're right. I think the key though is people always ask me, how do you grow? How do you do this? I don't know.
It's consistency though, right?
Be yourself, consistency. Right. You know, something doesn't do well, you know, learn from it and move on. Don't stop.
Right.
I think that's key. But I lucked out. I was doing it out of utility, so I was going to do it either way.
Right.
You know, I wasn't looking for, you know, honestly, I wasn't looking for followers or like fame. I don't want fame. I mean, it's about the food. That's, you know, truly what it's about. And I think that having that cornerstone, I always talk about that, is the cornerstone of like, why do you do this?
Right.
That's going to connect with people. And, you know, I think bringing people on the show that people want to have listen to and learn from, I think is really interesting.
Well, one of the selling ideas when Lee and I were talking about kind of the beginning of doing this was every episode was going to be different.
Yeah.
And he's got to see one episode. Now he's going to see two.
Yeah.
And, you know, like the first episode we did with the two guests we had was just like all out fun, crazy stories, like frat house type stuff.
Oh, yeah.
And then, you know, I have you on, we switched the gears. Now it's more of like the interview, kind of where you're at a year later. And then you and I know each other as well. So whatever I can do to help promote your stuff, I'm all about too.
Oh, thank you.
But one of the things that, like you're talking about Cornerstone, was I always wanted to give people a platform to come talk.
Yeah.
Because everyone has a story, and it doesn't have to be the most interesting story, but it's a story.
Yeah.
And it's a story no one's ever heard.
Yeah.
And sometimes that story sparks an idea that could turn into something.
Yeah.
And if, you know, we can provide the platform for people to do that, even better.
Yeah.
You know,
It's wild what you can do with, like the internet age, right?
oh, it's crazy.
I came across a account recently. She does, she started with stickers for mental health,
Okay.
like breathe in, breathe out, right? And then she pivoted to shirts. She makes these like sweaters, and it says, overthinking on it. And then it says, like on the sleeves, like breathe in, and another one, breathe out. And she does these limited runs, and she was on Shark Tank.
No way.
Yeah. And now she has her shirts in Target.
No way.
Yeah. And I'm talking like in the span of like 2 years, and she's 7 figures, 8 figures now.
That's crazy
By
how
doing
quick that moves,
something
though.
that she like truly was
Right.
passionate about, and to
Right.
help others. I think if you can help others, tell a story, and then people can connect with it, that's the key. And for me, my story is food, right?
Right.
And fortunately, everyone has to eat, right? So that's the challenge, I think, when you're building something like this, is you have to realize that not everyone is going to have the same interests.
Right.
When I first did SLC Foodie, there's a little bit of fitness component to it. I'd drop a little bit of like fitness here, more tongue in cheek, like how to outwork a bad diet, because they say you can't do that.
Right.
But I realized that the fitness component is kind of like pushing some people away. They don't want to see any of that, But food, everyone can relate to food.
Well, I remember in the beginning when your account started to get traction, you were able to go into restaurants that were more health conscious.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
And I do remember that, because I think it was me, you, and Cody went and ate one time, which us three together is always a riot anyway.
Yeah.
But like I remember we went, and looking at the menu, I'm just like, what is this?
Yeah, I bet.
I'm
trying to remember what restaurant that would have been. Well, my goal was to find great tasting food,
Right.
that was within the calorie and macronutrients that I needed.
If I remember correctly, it was way up on the east side on 33rd, kind of close to 215.
Ooh, maybe it was Core Life Eatery.
I think that's what it was.
Yeah, they died, unfortunately.
Did they?
Yeah.
Oh man, when did that happen?
I think it started into COVID, and they shut down. They went from 4 to 3 to 2 to 0.
Oh, okay.
So it's pretty sad to see them not succeed. But it's healthy food, and I think that concept would have done better in Colorado, quite honestly.
You think so?
Yeah, I think Utahns, they're like me. Healthy food's good, but I want something that tastes great. I want a lot of sauces. Right. We like our dirty sodas. Nothing is screaming, health about a 1,500 calorie, 44-ounce drink that's literally just high fructose syrup.
Right. You know what? It's crazy that I've noticed in the past 5 years is how diverse Salt Lake has become.
Oh yeah.
You get a lot more different types of restaurants, because it used to be just your fast food, and then I remember when like Panda came in, and it was like the world was on fire.
Oh yeah.
And now it's like nothing like that. Like high-end restaurants are coming in.
Oh yeah. A lot of experience restaurants,
Right.
A lot of different cuisines, a lot of fusions. It's I'm super proud to be a Utahn, where I think 15, 20 years ago it was like, I want to get out of the state, explore. But Utah is an amazing state to be in. So I am super happy to be here.
So what's one restaurant that doesn't exist anymore that you wish was still here?
Oh, that's a tough one, but I'm just going to go with the first thing that came to mind. Fat Boy Phillies. So they did Philly cheesesteak sandwiches, and I really, really enjoyed them. It was a father-son setup. And they unfortunately closed up on the 31st of October.
No way.
Yep.
So just recently.
Yeah, 8 years. So, they had a good run, made it through COVID, everything. But right now, restaurants are really suffering. I will go into some of my favorite spots, and, if someone's, from management or, owner or something, I'm like, hey, how's everything going, and I tell you what, like Curry Pizza Kitchen, they told me they were 70% year to date down.
Wow.
In sales.
Wow.
Which, that's a family owned business. He has kids, family. And it's really sad to see them, struggle.
Right. I know, like the industry I come from, 30% is what we're down right now. Mm-hmm. And normally, like this time of the year, we're starting to see the slowdown. I saw the slowdown September, which is unheard of.
Yeah.
And so I get it. I mean, because you figure like the type of, restaurants you're going to, you want to have some expendable income, but if people are really tightening up the financial belt, they're not going out and doing that.
Yep.
So to all the people that are listening to this, go out and eat.
Yeah.
Go
And
support these people.
yeah, if you're going to go out to eat,
Don't do Olive Garden.
I know all of people like Olive Garden, Texas Roadhouse.
Yeah.
That place is popping. I drive past the one in South Jordan, just real busy. Think about the local restaurants, the mom and pops that really need you. And remember that Ding Tea, right? One of my favorite boba spots in Jordan Landing. That, yes, it's a franchise, but it's owned by a local guy.
Yeah.
He has a 9 to 5 on top of that. So, those are mom and pops in my mind, even though there may be a lot of them, right? Especially the smaller ones, I get it. You get a McDonald's, you probably have 10 McDonald's, and massive net worth. But, I think, really supporting those independent restaurants is the core. And that's really, if you look in my feed, that's probably 99%, I know other people will try to take Jack in the Box is coming to Utah. Is it Jack in the Box? Yeah, Jack in the Box. And, other foodies will try to take a shortcut. This is going to go viral because it's Jack in the Box. And they help promote, Jack in the Box when they could have helped promote Burgatory.
Right.
And, they got amazing burgers and they got that cool horror theme that going on in there. And they're struggling. They're to the point where they might be shutting down.
Really?
But, for me, I'd rather focus on them. It might not be as sexy. I might not get as many likes. But if I can help that mom and pop that has great food, I'd rather do that than, I'm going to get so many likes and be a Kardashian for 5 seconds.
And so that goes back to, yours is a passion.
Yep.
They're trying to grow a following and go with what's hot.
Yep, 100%.
And I mean, if they were going to do that, they should have just went to the Raising Cane's opening with Post and.
They invited me in there, and I was like, nope.
No?
I'm Mr. Charlie's in and out. Mr. Charlie Chicken Finger. If you're thinking Raising Cane's, go to Mr. Charlie's.
Have you done a Charlie's?
Yeah. Oh, I love Charlie's.
Because I know there's one
in Murray and Draper.
Yeah, so I know the one in Draper. I know the one in Murray too.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's phenomenal food.
Oh, incredible. Such a cool story. 2 guys from Alabama, love to ski, came out here, decided to live here, missed their chicken.
Yeah.
They brought it here.
Right. And then some guy from Texas decided to move to Utah. He was a big hip-hop star and put him on the map too.
100%. I was super excited when Post Malone was showing that love. So I heard, and this is just hearsay, that even though Post Malone has that pink Raising Cane's, he still goes to Charlie's.
I wouldn't put it past him. I would not put it past him because he seems like he's more of a stick to your roots kind of guy.
I think so.
And obviously the Raising Cane's was more of a promotional. Yeah. And I don't know, who knows, maybe he owns a little bit of it.
I don't know. I'm sure he likes it. I don't think he would be not genuine.
I mean, I've had Raising Cane's. Not going to say anything bad about him because it's really hard to screw up a chicken finger. But at the end of the day, it's a cookie cutter type deal.
Yeah, I mean, you have to. When you're that big, you got to do
it.
And no disrespect to Raising Cane's. It's it's a good spot, but if I'm thinking chicken tenders, I'm gonna go give me a Mr. Charlie's chicken finger.
So probably this is the number one question you get asked.
What
is your favorite food?
Gosh, first thing that came to mind. So Mexican food.
Okay.
I think it's because I grew up eating a lot of La Frontera.
Oh yeah, back in the day.
I think people, that isn't Mexican food, right? But I grew up going to La Frontera. But I think Mexican food. But I like burgers and tacos, and the reason why burgers and tacos is because you can really make a burger any cuisine. You can make a taco any cuisine.
Right.
Like Rock Taco, you can go there. Get a Lebanese taco, get a K-pop taco, get a carne asada taco. And, burgers, same thing. It's kind of a food delivery vehicle is what I call it.
Right. I've seen you crush some awesome desserts.
Oh, yeah.
What's your favorite dessert place?
Oh, gosh. You know what? Doki Doki. It's just right here. Like, if they were open, I would probably head over there afterwards right now, but they're not open this early. But, Doki Doki is a great spot. Japanese desserts. They do the fluffy pancakes. They have they have these ice cream, and it's like a fish cone, like a waffle almost.
Really?
It's really good. Great spot. again, locally owned, just a younger couple too. They can't be more than like late 20s.
Really?
Yeah.
Now, have you ever thought about opening your own restaurant?
Yes.
And if you did, what would be the cuisine?
Okay. So yes, I have. And then I quickly realized how much work it is. I see all these restaurant owners put in, 100 hours a week.
Yep.
And, the idea of owning your own business, I get to work for myself. No, they basically create themselves a job.
Right.
And unless you're a great delegator, it's quite difficult. But I was in Boise, and there's a spot up there called Sid's Garage. And it's kind of a Jesse James hot rod like themed spot. They got like a 57 and half of a Chevy in there, and kind of a like a mechanic shop.
Yeah.
And the employees, first of all, so I always say, great food, great drinks, great people, right? Great ambiance. You get all four, you're gonna do well. And first of all, the people there, so excited to like see you, greet you, chat with you. Like think of Dutch Brother or Chick-fil-A employees.
Yeah. But it's not creepy though, right?
No.
You feel it's genuine?
Yeah, 100%. And they're super excited to be there. Food-wise, burgers, shakes. Two of my favorite things, right? They're kind of a Black Tap ripoff if you've been to Black Tap. What I mean by that is gourmet burgers. I'm talking, like they got a beer cheeseburger that comes out with the syringe full of beer cheese that you inject into it.
Oh, really? You get to control the flow.
Yeah, so it's an experience, and I think that's key, doing the experience right now. They have a lunchbox burger that comes out like in a 60s metal lunchbox.
Really?
A smokehouse burger comes out in the treasure chest that you typically smoke like an old-fashioned in. You open it, it's just bellowing smoke out.
Oh, see, Colby would love that because he's an old-fashioned.
Yeah, right? And then the shakes are awesome. You get like this crazy shake with like a massive chunk of cake stuffed on the top of it with it drizzling and drooping down. So really great food, good ingredients, interesting flavors. But the key, great price points.
So nothing crazy.
No, 13, 14, 15 bucks for a burger. 10, 12, 13, 14 bucks for like one of those crazy shakes that could feed like 3 people.
Yeah.
And when you compare that to Black Tap burger shake, you're $50, $60 out the door. So there you're about half the cost, good ambiance, good vibe, good people. And that's the mom and pop. And the guy, literally completely unrelated field, decided to open it. And apparently he has 2 locations. He has one in Meridian, Idaho as well.
Oh, right on.
Yeah.
Wonder if he'll ever venture down to Salt Lake.
I actually, so when I was up there, whenever I go up there, I go in, and he was there. And I was like, oh gosh, I want to go say hello, just as myself. Because SLC Foodie is irrelevant in Idaho.
Right.
And I just said, gosh, this is such a cool idea, like, love what you did here. And, he's like, why are you so like passionate about this? And I was like, oh, I got a food blog, and then I told him about it, and he looked it up. He's like, whoa, what the,
Yeah.
And
he's like, let's do business.
yeah, no. And I was like, I go, maybe, down the road, if I ever get capital, it'd be fun to bring it to Utah, because I think it'd be pretty foolproof in Utah. Burgers, shakes, I think everyone would love that. But I wouldn't do it right now.
No, just because of the market.
Oh, market's tough. I think we got a couple of years before anyone should be putting big money into anything.
Right.
But then again, like what Warren Buffett says, when people are selling, buy,
Yeah. And sometimes you have to take the leap of faith.
Yeah.
Where would you what do you feel is the ideal spot to put a restaurant?
So, I live in South Jordan. So I think South Jordan is controlled by chains. I think there's tons of opportunity out there. Harriman, Riverton, they got that mountain corridor village out there, and a ton of restaurants. It went from like no options in Harriman to like 50 options,
right?
Like in the span of 2 years. So I think that's saturated now. I always told people Harriman, and people are like, gosh, that's so far out there. It's like, no, it's not. And there's a lot of depth out there. I mean, it goes all the way to the Mount Oakers.
Right.
And, but South Jordan somehow got skipped over. I don't understand it. Like I was thinking about Mexican food in South Jordan, and it's, it's pretty limited. There's, El Morlini, I can't say it ever. It's like Morlense, El Morlense. It's in South Jordan, 114 South, about Redwood Road. They had a spot in West Valley. This is their second location. Amazing Mexican food.
Is it kind of like the La Frontera chains, or totally different?
Totally different. Tortas, carne asada fries, nachos, burritos, tacos.
Okay.
They do the El Pastor and the spits, with the pineapple, all of that.
Right.
Make it all in-house. They did add a couple things that aren't in West Valley, like they were saying the fries aren't a big seller. But in South Jordan, everyone loves the fries.
That's so weird, but that's good market research.
Yeah, 100%. Same with burritos, for instance, right?
Right.
But they were saying it's because burritos aren't actually like a Mexican dish. You won't find a burrito in Mexico.
It's an Americanized thing.
Yeah, it's an Americanized thing. You'll find a taco, and
Right.
maybe the burrito evolved from the taco if you go far back.
Well, they'll give you a tortilla with everything.
Yeah.
You could have cereal and here's a tortilla.
Yep, 100%. So but outside of that, you don't really get any interesting spots. You know, like if you were to ask someone 2 years ago in South Jordan, where do you go for Mexican food? Del Taco Bell.
Yeah.
It's like, no.
But then you hear I go to La Frontera. And you're like, no.
Yeah. I still go to La Frontera.
It's so hard to beat.
It is. I tell you what, my order of 3 chili ready burritos or burrito rancheros, maybe it's nostalgia. I don't know. And the price point stayed pretty decent. I think it's still like $14.
Yeah, because you can do like the smothered burrito with rice and beans for lunch.
Yep.
It's like $8 or $9.
Yeah.
You cannot beat that.
You can't even go to McDonald's for that.
No, like I get the tab on that. It's like $12 after you add a drink. It's like I don't even know how much to tip.
Yeah.
Like this is weird.
Yeah, you got to. You definitely have to do like the 30-40% because it's like, this is kind of weird giving you a $2.40 tip.
Right. I always round up, so I'm like, here's $20. You keep the difference.
You'd laugh. So year to date, I've spent just over $10,000 in tips.
Wow.
Yeah, I know how hard these servers are working, and I truly value what they're doing.
So I feel like anything less than 20 is a slap in the face. I've had horrible service, still gave 20.
Yep.
Because sometimes you just catch someone on a bad day.
Catch them on a bad day, or it's not their fault. The kitchen's slow. Something else is going on. They're doing a cover in for 2 people.
Or the place is slammed, and they have 2 or 3 times the tables, and they're doing the best they can.
And the reason why these restaurants do that is, 1, they can't find people to work for them.
Right.
And 2, they want to be able, for instance, Utah, especially Utah County, is notoriously bad tippers, right? So they need to have these servers almost tag team things because they need the additional tip because that table's going to leave 4%, that table's going to leave 10%, that table's going to, not leave any tip.
That's not a bad idea because if you just start turning and burning, it's now a numbers game.
Yeah, but then you sacrifice a little bit of that experience and the quality. So, I definitely have met some amazing servers that can do both, which is incredible. I don't know how they can do it. In fact, when I'm ordering and they're just like memorizing, what I'm ordering, I'm just like, I can't even remember a phone number.
Right. Right. No, I totally get that.
And when I get those little, you log into your bank account, it sends you the little code, secondary verification.
Yep.
I'm like, what? 456. I'm like,
oh yeah.
I can't remember it.
My thing is when I meet new people,
Yeah.
I always forget their names.
Me too.
I always have to turn to someone and be like, what's this dude's name?
I remember their face, but it takes me a long time to remember their name.
I think we talked about this last time, but like when I'm out in public and someone from high school runs into us, and if it's not part of like the group of people we hung out with,
Sure.
I'm just like, hey, David.
Yeah.
Or, hi, Brian. How are you? And they're
Hey,
like,
you. Yeah.
They're like, it's John. I'm like, oh.
Oh, yeah. Wasn't that your nickname, though?
Hey, guy.
Yeah. No, I hear you there. Well, I mean, that goes back to why I created SLC Foodies, my memory,
Right.
More photographic, I guess.
Yeah.
Unless it's a test,
Right.
And I forget everything.
Right. Well, is there anything else you want to add?
Yeah, no, check out the account if you haven't been to it. SLC Foodie on Instagram and TikTok, and then Salt Lake Foodie on Facebook.
Okay.
And I even dabble a little bit in those YouTube shorts.
Do you?
Yeah. SLC Foodie over there.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, we'll definitely spread the word. Appreciate you coming out on a early Sunday morning to record.
Yeah, no, thanks for having me on. Love the new studio.
Yeah, thank you. It's awesome. Lee, you got anything else you want to add? All right. Well, thank you again. Appreciate it. Of course, as always, of course. Excited to see where you go with this too.
Oh, I tell you what, it's a wild adventure. I never know what's gonna happen next.
Okay. Well, we're watching.
All right.
I got one. What's the best sports place to go eat?
Ooh, okay. All right.
Oh, I didn't even think of that.
Yeah, no, that's a good one. I like that. So I found a cool spot called Black Sheep and Foothill. It's kind of hidden on the second level, and it's in an old McCool's, right? So it kind of has an Irish bar kind of theme, like the wood and whatnot. But amazing food. Their chef there, the guy could go work at like a 5-star restaurant, but he came to a sports bar, and he's pushed I think their sales of like food is 40% in a sports bar, which is unheard of, right? Usually it's like 10% because it's, like the pizza you had, right?
Right. Yeah.
But he's doing some amazing things, and they got a $10 ribeye that they hand cut on Mondays.
Really?
It has to be a loss leader, has to be. But that's a great spot. And then there is a new sports bar. There's going to be a existing sports bar that we all know that's going through a rebranding here shortly. I've kind of heard through the grapevine. I don't want to say names or anything because I don't know how public it is. It must be public.
Is it a chain?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
I think I know who you're talking about.
And there's going to be some changes there. So I'm interested to see what happens.
Right.
I think of Gold's Gym when Vasa broke out of the chain and did their
Right.
own brand.
Right.
How they really, they leveled it up.
Right.
So I'm curious to see what happens with that.
Cool.
Yeah.
Anything else you got, Lee? No? Okay. Well, we'll end it here.
All right.
Thank you again. And you can find the podcast on everywhere you can listen. And then, we're jumping into the YouTube stuff. We'll have the YouTube shorts. Instagram's going to be a big thing in our deal. And then TikTok, of course. So
Awesome.
we'll chop it up. We'll do the best of this one, and then we'll get it out there.
All right.
Okay. Thank you.
See ya.